Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot and a PMDG 777 beta tester. Welcome back to the 200ER and the third and final version, this time featuring the GE90 engine. Now the GE90 on the 200ER is a little bit weaker than the one on the 300ER and the freighter, because the max takeoff weight is about 50 tons lower than on those two aircraft. Overall though, you will see that the plane flies quite a bit different from the other two versions. And with that, I suppose we're getting right into it. So a lot of you have asked for Austrian on the comments, so here you go. And it would only be fitting to fly to my favorite destination, to the Maldives. So let's get right into it, and let's get our aircraft and our adventure started. We're boarding through to left, as you have seen, since that's where the jetway is normally docked. And then we can walk all the way up to the cockpit. Now, some have asked why the jetway is normally docked to door 2 left rather than 1 left, and the reason for that is that you want your business passengers to board first, and then you kinda just want them to have their space, and you don't want all those economy passengers to be walking through business class during boarding. Now, with that out of the way, let's get right into the cockpit and let's get ready for today's 8.5-hour flight to the Maldives. Now, let's take a seat on the captain's seat down here, and we're going to start right down on the Universal Flight Tablet and the electronic flight bag page, where we can request our flight plan from SimBrief, and then we can go ahead and have a look at our OFP. So, starting right up here, we can start by having a look into the general maps. So our flight leads us pretty much straight across the Balkans, then across Turkey, Iraq, across the Arabian Gulf, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman over to the Maldives. If we look into the significant weather chart, we can see that we have a smooth flight for the initial part of it. Then we're crossing a jet stream across Iraq over here with that number 2, which is moderate turbulence up to flight level 400, so we'll probably not be able to avoid that through pretty much the entire Iraq. Now, once we clear that, we once again have beautiful flying conditions on the way over to the Maldives, where we will find some occasional CBs according to the significant weather chart. Well, let's go up a little bit and see what that looks like if we have a look into the weather forecast. Our departure Vienna has cavalcade conditions, 21 degrees right now, beautiful weather conditions, but our destination over in the Maldives has a little bit worse weather in the general forecast, at least for today's evening, but by the time we arrive tomorrow morning, we should expect good weather conditions with westerly winds. Now, our first alternate that I really can't pronounce, that is something far too long Indian, we'll just call it Tiru for today's purposes, has pretty good weather conditions, and then they did plan Colombo as well, but I don't think we are gonna need any of that stuff. So, with this in mind, if we check our flight plan, if we depart on time, 18:05 UTC, we are going to arrive like 10 minutes late, unfortunately. We have already planned a high cost index with CI80, so not all that much that we will be able to do about that. If we go a little bit further down in our flight plan into the fuel section, we can see that an increase in the zero fuel weight by 1,000 kilos is going to cost us 210 tons of extra fuel. Flying a bit lower is going to cost us a little bit as well. But overall, I think we will not need any of that, since on holiday flights you basically don't have large changes in zero fuel weight due to last minute cargo or something the likes, and I don't see us flying lower on a night flight across Europe and the Middle East as well. Now, we could of course consider flying a little bit faster, but taking 1,700 kilos just to shove off 13 minutes is usually absolutely not worth it, since those 1,700 kilos would cost the company like almost $3,500 US, so absolutely not worth it. For this reason, looking to the flight plan over here, they want us to leave with 66.2 takeoff fuel plus 500 taxi, round that up to 67 tons, then we do have sufficient alternate fuel that we can, stay in the Maldives for about an hour or so should we decide to commit to a landing there. So I'm absolutely happy with that, 67 tons of fuel. And with that decided, let's go right over into the weight and balance tools, load the aircraft from SimBrief, and then we can go into the precise loading fuel, and in here we do want 67 tons. Like this. What I always find quite amazing is you look at these fuel numbers down here, you see 67 tons, you think like, oh, that's a heavy load of fuel. And then you see the percentage and see that it's not even half. It's just an amazing airplane, that 777. Or, to put it into the words of a former 777 pilot whom I absolutely love to fly with, Boeing built a wonderful airplane. But if only they didn't put a center tank into it. Alright, so that much about those basics of setting the aircraft up down here. Let's go ahead and run our safety inspection now. We do have the parking brake set, fuel control levers cut off, engines in, or thrust levers in idle, landing gear lever down, the wipers are selected off, the hydraulics are also selected off. So batteries are on already, then we can also turn the ailerons on and then just head down into our panels. So first of all, let's go ahead and start the recall to check for any ICAS messages that we should or should not have. Same thing over here on the status page, we check for any of those messages. Then the engine oil quantity is looking good for today's flight, the hydraulic quantity is looking good for today's flight. Now let's turn the APU on to be able to check the APU oil quantity, which is also looking good. And the oxygen pressure is also looking good. Now, temperature outside 19 degrees at the moment, but the sky is pretty clear, so the airplane is actually going to heat up fairly quickly. Let's go ahead and have a look into the air page, just to see what's going on here. 19 degrees for the time being, but we'll keep an eye on this, just in case it is getting a little bit hotter. In any case, since some of you have asked me already if you can open the windows on the 777, you absolutely can. So, why don't we go ahead and just do that, just in order to be able to see how that operates. And in order to cool down our flight deck at least a little bit. So, that's how you open the windows in a Boeing 777. With the sun coming from the side over here, if we do close those window shades, that's going to help a little bit with the heat management in the flight deck as well. Alright, cool. So then let's go ahead and start our actual pre-flight preparations here. So let's get our tablet over here and then go into the FMS. So 777-200 GE90 nav database is current. We are going to use the GPS position and then we can do a route request from SimBrief and select route. Now while that's loading, let's head over into the EFB page over here and back into the flight plan. Then we can also already prepare our charts. So we are going to use the airport chart up here and then the parking stand charts, and then we can go over into the SID chart. We need the Adama to Bravo departure today of runway 16. So Adama, that's Alpha, that's Charlie. Where is Bravo? Here's Bravo. Okay, beautiful. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and load that route. And then we can head right up here. So from Vienna to Marle, Austrian 45 is going to be our call sign. And all of that is cross-checked against the plan up here. So then, our flight seems to be there. Let's select our departure, Romeo 16, Adama to Bravo, and then in the Maldives we are going to fly, well, most likely the ILS approach Romeo 36. I'm kind of thinking about doing Romeo 18 for a time, because we haven't done that in a little while. The expected arrival is from Elbet, so let's insert that one, Elbet 1 Bravo, and I think that's pretty much it, but let's cheat for a little bit here. So, coming in from Opari, we don't have a transition from there. Yeah, well, that's fine. Okay, so activate and execute. Now let's go ahead and check the route itself. So we're leaving via Adama, Zulu 648, Veda, Lima 140, Alamu, direct Epari, direct Ronbu, direct Artat, Uniform Papa 975 towards Ergun, Uniform Lima 124, FSAS, Uniform Mike 688, Sidat, Papa 975, Cesru, Then we have Mike 677 Opnet, direct Evoxy, direct Tardy, November 629 Gdan, Papa 570 Kital, Lima 894 Elbat. And that's pretty much everything we need for the time being. So then let's head into the Lex page and have a look. Also gonna need the flight plan page over here. So straight ahead Whiskey Whiskey 402, left turn Whiskey Whiskey 404, maximum 205 knots. Remember the 777 is not going to include any speed restriction that don't have an associated altitude restriction. That's a limitation of the real world aircraft. So you gotta enter those yourselves. So it's very important that you actually do check your routing and your FMS properly. Then we continue via Whiskey Whiskey 162 to waypoint 390 and then towards Adama with an initial climb at 5,000 feet. So that's looking pretty good. Cool, then route data and wind data load. Execute, FMCCom, uplink, load, then progress page, and we do have a ground distance of 4,065 miles versus 4,032 miles. That's good enough. A little shortening because of the other runway. So ring around the departure airport, 25 miles. We don't need anything on the NAVRAD page. If we look at the chart over here, it's all based on PBN. Then let's go into the Vienna page. Transition altitude 10,000 down there versus 10,000 up here. That's good enough. And then over to the performance page. I'm going to reject that uplink. We'll do that stuff manually, just for the sake of it. So zero fuel is 178.0, but we are not going to enter that just yet. Then let's head down into the fuel section. So we have final 2.8, alternate 6, so that's 8.8 for the reserves. 8.8, flight level 350 if I'm not totally mistaken. Yep, Alamu 350. And then cost index 80, minimum fuel temperature is minus 44, cruise CG 30, and step size 0 as we're going to enter those manually. Then onto the takeoff page, acceleration and reduction 1500, that's fine with me. And now onto the Lex page. So at tap key we step to flight level 370. Tap key, here it is, 370S. And then at Evoxy we're going to climb to flight level 390. And that's over here. Wonderful, so insert, execute, and that's our FMS setup completed. So leave the performance page open over here and the route page open over there, and that's everything we had to do. So then let's do our flight deck inspection, and up here everything's set. Over here voice recorder on, emergency lights on, seatbelt signs on since our refueling process is completed. So window flight deck left, that's intentional. Then over here everything is set. We can already turn the logo light on since it is going to go dark pretty soon. And up here everything is set as well. So view hours, hectopascal, traffic, range at 10. Flight directors are coming on. Then let's go down to the checklists, reset all. Then the com page. Flight information and ATIS request, and we are departing Vienna today. So Vienna, VATSIM and send. So on the other hand side, everything is set. Then we don't need that speed over here. Auto brakes going into RTO. Down here the comms 1228, 1215. Typical setup basically. Like this. Weather radar into WX and T. And that transponder should absolutely have been off. And here we go. So that's that setup completed. Now we're just waiting for the ATIS to arrive so that we can set our QNH. In the meantime, let's go over to the side here and do the oxygen test. Well, and that's it for the time being. So just waiting for the Asus to arrive. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start our departure briefing, please. Alright, thanks. So we are going to depart Vienna Romeo 16, Adama to Bravo departure. Initial to 5,000, MSA is a little bit higher on that one, up to 10,000 over the Alps, and in the departure sector no more than 5,000. Extra fuel and time, we didn't take anything. Alright, thank you very much. So it is going to be a left seat takeoff. I have no threats for our taxi out, and our engine outset is, I do believe, straight at 25 miles. Yep, it is, and climbing to an altitude of 6,000. Now, immediate return, Vienna is available. Runway 29 are in use, if I'm not mistaken, and if things have to go really, really fast, we can just do a procedure turn here, come back, land on runway 34 as well. A little bit of tailwind then, almost 10 knots, but nothing too significant. We are overweight though, so we will read the overweight landing non-normal checklist. Well, and that's it. I have nothing special or non-standard. We do have that speed restriction on the Whiskey 404 point though, so got to keep the flaps out. And that's it. Do you have any questions? No? Beautiful. So, let's see, this is Wien Schwechat, departure information Juliet at 1650, departure runway 16, the route 11. Transition level 110, wind 15088, Carbok, temperature 19, dew point 10, QNH 1024, no sick. Okay, so 1024. Looks like that little bug where the standby altimeter changes its readout depending on the primary QNH is still there. Okay, gonna report that one. Well, and that's it. So, thank you very much. That's pretty much all of our setup completed now. So, pre-flight checklist. Oxygen, tested to 100%. Flight instruments, heading 200, altimeter 1024, reading 610. Set left, set right. Pre-flight checklist complete. Okay, cool. So, starting the APU. And then let's get down into our weight and balance. So, we have a zero fuel weight of 176.9. And that gives me a gross weight of 243.9, which looks good. Zero fuel CG is 28. So let's go ahead and do our takeoff data. Performance tool, Vienna, runway 16. We will go with a full length. Import weights, import weather, calculate. Takeoff 2, 41 degrees. 92.8% versus 92.4, close enough. So flaps 5 takeoff, the CG is 28.9, so basically 29. Trim 4.5, that looks good, and the speeds 152, 154, and 157. Those are all within 1 knot, so we can take the FMS speeds. Excellent. So, APU running. Boden vom Cockpit. Hello. So, you can remove the external power please, and then we should be pretty much ready to go in a moment. Okay, so ground power unit release, then ground service vehicles release all, door management close all. And then we can say Servus to our passengers. Liebe Fluggäste, einen schönen guten Abend aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emanuel im Namen der Austrian. Darf Sie herzlich an Bord unserer Boeing 777 auf unserem Flug auf die Malediven willkommen heißen. Heutige Flugzeit wurde berechnet mit 8 Stunden und 45 Minuten einem weitestgehend ruhigen Flug, allerdings können vereinzelte Turbulenzen erwartet werden. Wir bitten Sie daher angeschnallt zu bleiben, auch wenn das Anschnallzeichen ausgeschaltet ist, solange Sie sich in Ihrem Sitz befinden. Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Wir melden uns mit dem neuesten Wetter im Anflug auf die Malediven und wünschen Ihnen bis dahin einen guten Flug und eine ruhige Nacht bei uns an Bord. Ladies and gentlemen, from flight deck, this is your captain speaking. A very good morning. In the name of Austrian, I would like to welcome you all aboard our Boeing 777 on our flight to the Maldives. Today's flight time will be 8 hours and 45 minutes, expecting a smooth flight for the most part, with some occasional light turbulence. So for this reason, please keep your seatbelt fastened as long as you're in your seat, even if the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off. For now, thank you very much for being our guests. Sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us, and if there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. Thank you very much for your attention. Cabin crew, all doors in flight. So, slides armed, chocks removed, the parking brake is set. Alright. So, I do hear some traffic. For some reason the jetway is still there. So, the Embraer is gone. Then let's go ahead and give this a go. So, jetway, please remove it. Here we go, thanks. So, plant pushback. Straight onto the center line. Usually widebody aircraft don't fit onto those colored lines, so something like this. Alright, excellent. So, the window is closed. Ground flight deck. Servus. So, can we pressurize the hydraulics? Yes, you're clear to pressurize. Okay, right system first. Fault light is out. Then, let's see, fuel in center does show, so the center pumps are coming on as well. Then we have 4.5 units at trim. Here we go, and the transponder is coming on. Before start checklist, please. Flight deck door, closed and locked. MCP. V2 157, heading 160, altitude 5000. Takeoff speeds, V1 153, VR 154, V2 157, CDU pre-flight, completed. Trim 4.5 units, 0 and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing, completed. Before start checklist, complete down to beacon. So, ground flight deck. Go. We are clear to push, and yeah, should be just about fine with that fin air over there. So, clear to push. For real? Is it not gonna load the pushback menu anymore? Why is that? Come on, you worked a short moment ago. So they took that freeware pushback tool, turned it payware without adding anything useful, and now it doesn't work, and doesn't see updates for a month at a time. That's how we love it. That's absolutely how we love it. So, quick thought. What did we change since it worked? I don't think anything. We just literally powered the hydraulics and read the checklist. Let's give it a short moment, maybe it starts. If it doesn't, then yeah. So, beacon on, and it looks like it doesn't. So before start checklist is complete, in that case, we have to use the standard pushback. Love it. So they're connecting the tuck now. Parking brake is released. Nope. That's a pity. But yeah, what can you do? Alright, then we'll just go with the standard pushback. So you clear the push any moment. Straight pushback then, I think. Not sure if it's gonna be able to turn us. Or if it just turns us anywhere. That might of course happen as well. Alright, cool. So, start sequence is gonna be right then left, starting right engine. Remember, GE90s on this one, so you gotta start them one at a time. Oh, the tuck disconnected, but we're still pushing. So we'll stop it here, set the parking brake, and the brake is set. So just for the record, GSX isn't working anyway. It doesn't even load the menu anymore. No support. He doesn't reply to topics on the forum, so yeah. Okay, we have a good start on the right engine, starting the left engine. So let's monitor the startup process down here. And 2 is increasing. Oil pressure is increasing, perhaps a little bit early for my taste. So we should see fuel flow any moment now. Here we go. We have fuel flow. And 1 is increasing. And we have EGT as well. Now, I'm wondering if the EGT is coming a little bit late here, since basically once N1 starts to increase rapidly, that can only happen after you have ignition. But if you have ignition, you should see that on the EGT, since the engine is getting hot. Going to report that one. Alright, ground. We have 2 good engine starts. Clear disconnect, show me the pin on the right. Have a good day. Bye now. So, flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right, neutral. So recall is checked, before taxi checklist. Anti-ice, auto, recall, checked, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear. Before taxi checklist complete. Clear right side, clear left side, taxi holding point runway 16, which is a fairly quick taxi. So it goes straight out over here via Whiskey, Whiskey 2, Echo to the holding point. Brake released. Let's go. You only need a little bit of power to get the 200 ER moving. And then let's turn it right onto the center line here. I'm not 100% sure if we should turn the first left or the second left, but both are going to get us to the holding point. But if you do know the real airport, then be sure to put it into the comments underneath the video. So, clear both sides. So, plane did start to skid a little bit here. Should not have done that at this speed. Okay then, to review the takeoff briefing, this is going to be a left seat takeoff of runway 16, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2 with a buck up at 1500, takeoff speeds 153, 154, 157, sit straight at a left turn, initially 205 knots, and that means we got to keep the flaps in position 1. Well, and I have no specials, nothing non-standard, and that's it. Any questions? No? Beautiful. So we're just waiting for the cabin to get ready now, and then we can go. Very short taxi, so... Oh, here we go. That's what I call timing. So, weather is not a factor, terrain is. I'm gonna go for the terrain display then. Before takeoff checklist. Before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, we're clear on the right side. And we are clear on that left side. Then, Austrian 45 Heavy, runway 16, cleared for takeoff. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. So, one approaching aircraft, 4 miles out by the looks of it. Even though he's showing 4,000 above, so he cannot be approaching. Looks like the AI may be departing with the wrong runway down here, but I don't care. Are you ready? Takeoff. Thrust set. Man, I love those sounds.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1 rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. LNF. And here's your prime reason why you should keep inside and flying your aircraft. So let's do a speed intervention here. Bring it right up to 209. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. So, flat rector. Ah, here we go. For a moment I had the feeling the flight director tried to troll me, but here we go. This is a lot better. So let's continue our climb to 10,000. Speed window is closed. Flaps up. Speed checked. Flaps up. Something you really notice with the 200ER is how it really doesn't have as much power as the others. So flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist complete. So let's see how much rate of climb we're gonna get from the airplane. (2,000). Now compare that to the freighter or to the 300ER, which are really climbing a lot quicker than this. So the 200ER really is a little bit more down to the earth than the others in terms of the flight performance that the aircraft gives you. Autopilot. Look at this. A little bit of wing flex for you guys there. I know you like that so much. Engines wobbling as well. Well, and with that we are up and on the way to paradise. Now let's see if we are actually going to arrive on time. I just can't get enough from this site right now. This just looks so fantastic. We really picked a beautiful flying day here, and, well, the 200ER just looks great as well. So let's go back into the flight deck here for a moment. So I think terrain is no more factor for us. I'll go over to weather then, since that may very well be a factor at night, especially in the area we're flying through. And let's continue to climb a little bit higher there, say flight level 200. And in the meantime, what do we have? Arrival at 0238 Zulu. And if we check that against the flight plan, that is on time. Wonderful. Okay, passing flight level 100, set standard. Standard cross check, passing flight level 100. Come on. Now. So, lights, and yeah, we can release our guests as well. Alright, great. So with that, we're up and on the way. Now, let's do a little trick here. ICAS, engine, and that's how you can get the compact engine display onto the ICAS. Neat little trick. So if you have a look into the VNAV page, optimum is 355, recommended 330. I think 350 is actually quite fine then. So we'll just follow that one. Alright, and with that, sit back, relax, and enjoy our flight to the Maldives. Here we are. The sun has risen. We have already seen the first couple of atolls, and we are slowly approaching our destination airport. Let's go ahead and have a little look at some of the weather and some of our arrival data, and then we can start our approach to Marle. In the meantime, let's descend to 5,500 as per the procedure. Then we've got idle and VNAV path, and then we can get going. So 10,000 signs are on, lights on, and that's that. So down into the review and the flight info uplink. We've got Marle information kilo, wind 28085, few clouds in 1800, temperature 29, QNH 1010. So that's pretty much exactly what we've got in our box then. ILS approach X-ray to runway 18. Yes, that is the one with a slight bit of tailwind, but it saves us so much time that I'd rather go for this one than do it the other way around. Now, the approach starts at Mike 603 in 2000, 3-degree glide slope. Missed approach straight at to 4000 and turn left to proceed to Opari and hold. Well, and that's the important thing. So for our landing, 12.2 tons of fuel on board. That's around 3.5 more than we need, so we have half an hour extra, and we are landing at around 190 tons. Flaps 25 landing. Since we do have a very long runway available, we got to vacate at the end anyway. And we do this with auto brakes too. Well, and that's the basic part of our setup here. So let's get that sunshade up. And cabin ready, wonderful. Alright, cool. So that's about everything we needed for our arrival. Then let's go ahead and do the approach checklist, please. Altimeters, QNH 1010. Approach checklist complete. So that's exactly how I like it. First couple of atolls coming in sight down there. Let's see that from the outside here. Here we are, a good old classic aircraft. Did I just call a 777 old and classic? Well, I guess it kinda is. Many people are not aware that the 777 is actually older than the 737 NG. Just gotta love those looks, huh? Beautiful aircraft in a beautiful scenery. As always, for the scenery we are using FSDG Marle. They just did a wonderful job on both the airport and the North and South Marle atolls. Look at those. So we'll descend all the way down towards 2000, and out of there we are gonna start that approach. Lovely day, almost no wind, less than 5 knots. So, let's see if we can already make out the airport. I think it's that one over there. Coming in right on the glide. Our speed is looking good. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. miles, 4,500. That glide slope is accurate. Approach armed. Lock. Glide slope. So, I suppose we need a left wing view now. Let's go over to the other side here, real quick. Yeah, that's the view we're looking for. Okay, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. So we might have to help it a bit here. So, runway heading 183 set. And gear down, flaps 20. Flaps 25. Speed checked, flaps 25.
2,500.
Checked. Alright, landing checklist. The landing checklist complete. So approach speed is looking good. Wonderful. All those beautiful little islands here. Just gotta love it. Go around altitude 4,000 set. Alright then, let's have some fun. So, it's been a little while since I've landed on runway 18 over here. Most of the time it's 3.6 that's active. Today, lovely little crosswind, so everything is easy going. Okay, so we better land that plane now.
Approaching minimums.
Checked.
Minimums.
Continue.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Right, spoilers, reverse green. That seems to be a little bit too much reverse here. Okay, 60 knots. And manual brakes. Alright, with that, welcome to Male. So, we're going to vacate the runway to the left-hand side here. Or to the right-hand side, I should say. See, that's how much I'm in the runway 36 mood. Okay, so we'll be parking over there in between the Etihad and the Edelweiss. Right side is clear, left side is clear. Look at all those patchworks here on the old former runway. I just love it. Okay. So, next exit to the right hand side. No need to accelerate anything here. So, we did find a little bug on that landing with the reversers going to like 100% N1. That should absolutely not happen. Looks like something may be wrong with some limits there, I guess. But gonna report that one, see what's gonna come out of it. Alright, so make a right-hand turn over here. APU has started, lights off. Okay, so stand 7 is confirmed. Of course there is no marshaller available. Things would be too easy if there was. Now there is a marshaller. Perfect. And here we are. Okay, brake set, APU running is confirmed, shutdown 1, shutdown 2. Coming true, all doors in park. Alright, so engines are both below 20%. Beacon off and shutdown checklist. Park and brake. Set. Shutdown checklist complete. So let's go ahead and initiate the deboarding here. Ground operations. Chocks in position. We are probably not going to get any ground power unit here. So disarm the slides, and then we need the stairs on 1 left, stairs on 2 left, and normally I'd say we need stairs on 4 left as well, but probably not today. Cool, so oil quantity is good. We have no status messages. Let's do a recall of everything here, and this is all expected as well. Perfect. Alright then. With that, I'd like to welcome you all to the Maldives. I do hope you all enjoyed the flight. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. With this, you've seen all 3 engine versions of the 777-200ER. Let me know which one you like best, the Rolls-Royce, Pratt & Whitney, or the General Electrics. I'm looking forward to your feedback. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.